Alright, welcome to Regina Hill. Today we're going to talk about this detached home right in front of me. 这边讲话哦，整条街听到完呢。你看我这样 ，This is 恐怕有人走出来的。We're going to share how you can potentially stay in this freehold detached for free or make $2 million in 3 years' time.
I just want to love you. I just want to love you. I just want to love you.
For today's home tour, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Firstly, I'm going to share with you how you can potentially make $2 million from this freehold detached in the next 3 years if you choose to rebuild it. Now, when we look at landed properties, one of the most important elements is to look at the plot width. In order to qualify for a land plot to be subdivided into semi-D, each semi-D has to be at least 8 meters in terms of width. Now, this detached plot is sitting on a plot width of 16.1 meters and a plot depth of 28.4 meters. They are almost symmetrical. That is a very unique feature because if you were to look at the entire Regina Hill in District 21, this is in Jalan Kakatua. This is a very unique lane because the plot width here for most of the homes are at least about 16 meters and the rest of the landed homes are all ranging between 11 meters to 14 meters, and that makes this plot here extremely unique because you have such a wide plot here that allows you to subdivide it into 2 separate semi-Ds. Right now, this is a detached status, but as we can zoom out a little bit, this entire enclave belongs to a 3-story semi-detached enclave. When we talk about landed zoning, there's a key differential between this kind of enclave as well as mixed landed enclave. Now, mixed landed enclave, they usually have a combination of inter-terraces, corner terraces, semi-D, as well as some huge plots, probably into the detached zoning. But when you come to the semi-D enclave, predominantly most of the neighbors right here, they are either semi-detached homes or they have already converted into a detached from the past. Now, this home, it was originally a semi-detached home, but our owners have tore it down, rebuilt it into the current status. So this home right now is about 20 years old, still fantastic in terms of move-in, but right now in terms of the best option, in my opinion, is that you should rebuild this by subdividing it into 2 semi-D. When you look at the land size, this is 4930 square feet. If I want to subdivide it, that will bring me to 2465 square feet, and that qualifies in terms of these 2 parameters that BCA is looking for, which is 8 meters width. We go through our VFX modeling, you're gonna see that you can rebuild this to 3.5-story status, giving you 15.5 meters in terms of its total height. Make use of the envelope architecture theory, create a level 1 mezzanine. That will bring your totality to 5 different levels. Pump in the lift right there, and that will bring your total build up at maybe about 5,005 square feet. And if you were to multiply by the current construction cost per home, will give you about $2.2 million in terms of investment. That will bring our initial investment with 9.9 million, and on the 2 components of 2.2 and 2.2 each for this 2 semi-D, and let's factor in and round it up to a total of $15 million because we want to factor in a little bit of the interest costing as well as the buyer stamp duty. With that, you're going to own 2 brand new semi-D, provided of course you work with a regular architect and builder and create 2 brand new homes in 3 years' time. What's going to happen in 3 years' time, in the year 2026, once your home is successfully rebuilt, is that you can then put one of the semi-D in the market for approximately $8.5 million. I'm talking about actually that $8.5 million in today's context because just right down the lane at Jalan Selatin, there's 2 brand new semi-D that's in the market for $8.25 million right now at this point of filming in mid of 2023. And of course, in 3 years' time, I just want to be a little bit conservative, although I'm very optimistic about the landed market in terms of how prices are moving gradually on the year-to-year basis. And let's just take an example. If prices were to move up by 5% per annum, $8.5 million will be a very conservative figure in terms of PSF level. So if you can exit at $8.5 million, what's going to happen is that your total investment right here after rebuild is $15 million. You less off $8.5 million. Your costs of staying in a brand new semi-D at 3.5-story with a mezzanine level at 5,500 square feet, sitting on a land size of 2,465 square feet, is only at $7.5 million. And compared to your initial entry of 9.9 plus 2.2 and 2.2, this investment of $15 million has now reduced your cost to $7.5 million to live in a brand new semi-D home. And of course, that will mean that you sell one and you stay in one for a family. So that's plan number 1 for you. Plan number 2 is that what if you stay in your semi-D for another 3 years? Let's be a little bit conservative. You sell off the second one that you're living in and you have lived in for 3 years from year 2026 to year 2029. Let's say you are selling it in the range of 8.5 million again in the year 2029, conservatively in terms of our estimated numbers. Then that means this home is technically free. But in totality, you have already exited both homes at 8.5 each. There's a total of 17 million compared to your initial investment of 15 million. You make a gross amount of about $2 million and yet you stay in this home for free for 3 years. And I think that's a pretty good option. And this can only happen if you happen to spot a land like this. But meantime, let's look a little bit at level 1 first and then we'll come to option 3. Let's go. As you can see, there's like a little bit like a brick kind of concept right here. The thought process is that you want privacy within your living zone. You only open up at the 2 corners to bring light in. As we experienced just now inside, it's still very bright because of the fact that it's a detached status. You have left and right opening. Now the left, you need to have 2 meter setback as a detached. This is of course leading towards your backyard. Right outside, there's a couple of like zonings right there as a wet kitchen, so you can do heavy cooking right here. If you come to the other flank, you will bypass of course your entry main door, which is huge in terms of width. You have like a little kind of pavilion right here. I love the fact that in terms of the curb is actually pretty deep right here. So you don't have to worry about like cars right bypassing in front of your zone. You can still open up your main gate. You have a side gate as well. The street outside predominantly is dotted line. No double yellow line on the left and right hand side. And of course that means you can park additional cars. But this home can already park close to about 5 huge cars and you can just drive in easily because the gate is wide. If you are into EV cars, it's already ready with a 3-phase 60 amp and you just need to plug in your charging port right there. Is already ready for usage. On the right flank is another 2 meter setback and from here you can already see like the bright open sky. Now the key reason is that the other side has an extremely high wall because in the past it used to be a semi-D. It was then rebuilt into a detached status. That's why you still see the high retaining wall for privacy. Now, option 3 means that you're going to invest in this land plot. You're not going to tear it down because maybe you just want to enjoy this current detached status now. Because of the way this is being structured, 16.1 meters, even after the 2 meter setback on the left and right hand side, you still have about 12 meters internally. And this is what we call an extreme nice squarish plot. And even if you go to option 3, which means that you might need to put in maybe about 3 to 500,000 to spruce up the internal carpentry, just to renovate the home so you can move in right here because maybe you don't want to rebuild at this stage of your life. You can still put in a lift right here with an existing lift provision that stretches up all the way to level 3. When we come back to the living room, the height is consistent at 3.6 meters. So even with this, we already had that cassette aircon on, it's still at 3.6 meters. You're going to enjoy this amount of ceiling height in the existing architecture. Sometimes in terms of ideation on how you want to revamp the home, just with renovation itself on option 3, just by changing the way your furnishings are being done and by changing the color palette, it can already create a huge stark difference. Now this home already has a build-up of about 7,100 plus square feet. It has 6 bedrooms right now. We have 1 bedroom on level 1. We have 3 bedrooms on level 2. We have 2 bedrooms on level 3. The stairway is pristine because firstly, the stairway is created with a wider width and they are all one solid plank. Can you believe it? Our owners actually have not done anything to the flooring since day 1. And when we look at the flooring on level 2 and 3, the parquet wood looks extremely pristine. Now level 2, when you come up, there's like a nice entry zoning right here. Of course, there's already carpentry work, there's places for storage, there's also a little mini family zone. 2 bedrooms are facing towards the east and that is overlooking towards Bukit Timah Hill. We need to come into this room. When I zoom out on the entire D21 area and trying to locate where Regina Hill is, this seems like a concentrated zone that's all surrounded by greenery. Firstly, at the top right, we have the entire Bukit Timah Hill. There's actually this one just right in front of us. It looks so close. Right at the top towards the north, you have Bukit Batok Nature Park. Right anchoring Regina Hill, that's actually the entire forested area, the Toh Tuck area. So if you want to zoom out a little bit, this part of D21 starts from Pei Hwa Presbyterian School. When you come to the Beauty World MRT zoning, of course that's where reserve residence is, averagely already sold at about 2425 PSF. You will then sprout up all the way towards Upper Bukit Timah Road, and of course that's where condos like South Haven even along the rail corridor is. You would then, of course, come to the base area where those are the Toei HDB apartments, and then followed by the entire Incong landed enclave. You come up to this zone where I'm standing right here. This is of course where Signature Park condo is, the Highgate condo, and then you will come to the entire Regina Hill area. Predominantly, you have 90% private properties here in D21. And we're just beside the very famous Bukit Timah zoning, but yet you don't have to pay for Bukit Timah pricing. A lot of people love D21 is because they love the nature, but yet they don't have to fight the traffic. You're along the entire downtown line, all the way from Beauty World, because that would then link you towards King Albert Park, 6th Avenue, and of course you get to enjoy the rest of the Bukit Timah region going into town area. Meantime, we're gonna explore the existing condition of level 2. This is currently the master room. You have, of course, the resting area, a mini living zone area, and then you come to your private study here. You have granite right here as well on the ledges. Windows, doors, predominantly Fascina. Fascina has soundproofing kind of effect, but even if I were to just open up, we are inside the enclave, extremely quiet. So in terms of elevation, you have a bit of height advantage towards the back row of your neighbors because you're on a higher horizon compared to the back lane. That's why we have such a nice clear view of Bukit Timah. So for master room, of course, this is the biggest room. You have like a nice walk-in wardrobe zone, and then of course when you come in here, all this materials, have a look at this. Oh my goodness, it is solid. Even if you don't do anything, I think with $300,000 to $500,000, you can spruce out the entire place to be like a modern luxury home. Of course, I'm going to bring you to the third bedroom on level 2. So this is like considered bedroom 4. There's 2 bedrooms upstairs. Similarly for this room, huge ensuite overlooking towards the back, and you're not blocked because in a sense your current neighbors at the back, they have not rebuilt their homes, and of course they still belong to a 2-story kind of version like a semi-D. That gives you a nice vantage point. But even if they were to rebuild in future, which is good news for the enclave, because as more transactions clock in terms of valuation and new PSF level, that brings out the entire valuation of this entire estate. But you still have a nice clear view on level 3, because if you were to build up high, even after you rebuild, you'll still be higher than them. If you look at the stairway, currently you have this nice round feature here. You have, of course, solid wrought iron material flanking towards the entire stairway. You also have very good brightness coming in from different portions of the stairway as well. As we explore level 3, something to note is that currently this is 3 levels. They have not even go up to 3.5. For a 3-story landed zoning, you can build up to 15.5 meters. That will then give you 3.5 story. You play a little bit around with the mezzanine flooring. That will create 5 different levels. Let me give you an example how it will potentially look like. Usually, it looks like a first level with a high loft ceiling, because you need to set aside a portion here for the loft space in order to construct the 1M level. So that is technically like a level 2. And then you go to the official level 2, and then level 3, and then the roof terrace zoning. That will then create a 5-level home within the 3-story landed zoning. A landed plot within 3-story category versus a landed plot in the 2-story zoning. What is the key difference? Because in the 2-story zoning, you can go up to 2.5 at a maximum envelope height of 12 meters. So most of the time, because of this, a lot of owners, when they rebuild, they will want to dig downwards for additional basement level so that they have more built-in area. But when you go for a 3-story zoning, firstly, you can save the amount of digging down towards the basement, because basement construction costs approximately 50% more than the cost of above surface construction costing. So level 3 right now, you have 2 rooms. This room facing the front is occupying the width right here. And of course, this is like a nice entertainment room setup. If you come to the family zoning, that has an additional common bathroom here. And that also brings you to this external zone with solar panels just installed during 2017, and of course that was just 6 years back. There's a solar DC and AC conversion right there. According to our clients, this is almost like net zero in terms of their monthly utilities bill, and of course that's fantastic. You don't have to pay anything because the solar panel feeds the electricity in. And of course, if you have access during very warm days, you can even sell the excess electricity back to the grid. Let me just take out some of the checkboxes as recap. Firstly, you have 6 bedrooms, predominantly ensuite bedrooms. You have a nice spread of level 1 having that first bedroom, so you can use it as a granny room. You also have an additional helper's room towards the kitchen area as well as the WC in the kitchen zone. Backyard is fantastic. You're on elevated land. When you take off 6 bedrooms, that's one of the first criteria that we always look for. Lift provision is right there. In terms of build-up area, fantastic at 7,001. Land plot size, fantastic, 4,930, subdividable into 2 semi-D. Most importantly, this is freehold land, D21 with the Bukit Timah view. If you want to have a look at this place, give a call to our listing managers, Melvin Chan as well as George Ping. They'll be happy to share with you more details. If you want to have a look at the landing page, click on the link right down below, head on to the PropertyLimBrothers.com website. You'll be able to see the floor plans as well as the virtual tours and more details about this freehold landed home in D21 at Jalan Kakatua. And of course, once again, my name is Melvin Lim, PropertyLimBrothers. As always, happy to show the place. Take care.我脸每次很油啊。那天 landed convention 哦，我已经差不多讲到完了5点，等下 Patricia 才来跟我讲，你的脸很油，把我的脸从11点就油到现在。